In the 1960 era of free love and discovery, the U.S. sent man into space and many men to war. The British invaded with the universal message, all you need is love, and the civil rights movement made it into history. But love came at a huge cost for this black woman, Mildred Jeter, and white man, Richard Loving. Richard and Mildred went against Virginia's miscegenation laws banning marriage between blacks and whites. Miscegenation is marriage or cohabitation between a man and woman of different race, especially in the U.S. between a black and a white person. In June 2, 1958, two residents of Virginia, Richard Loving, a white man, and Mildred Jeter, a black woman, wanted to get married, but since Virginia didn't allow it, they had to go to Washington, D.C. Virginia forced the leaving state to obey law, which said, if any white person and colored person shall go out of this state for the purpose of being married, and with intentions of returning and being married out of it, and afterwards return to and reside in as husband and wife, they shall be punished, and the marriage shall be governed by the same law as if it had been solemnized in this state. In simple words, Virginia did not allow anybody to go to another state to get married and then come back and live in Virginia. Because of this, Commonwealth Attorney Bernard Mahon obtained warrant for the arrest of Richard and Mildred Loving. The Circuit Court of Carolina County issued accusation against Richard and Mildred Loving, stating that they were going against the state law because of their interracial marriage. The judge stated, Almighty God created the race white, black, yellow, Malay, and red, and he placed them on separate continents. And but for the interference with this arrangement, there would be no cause for such marriages. The fact that he separated the race shows that he did not intend for the race to mix. On January 6, the Lovings pleaded guilty to the charge and were sentenced to 1 year in jail. However, the trial judge, Leon Bazell, accepted the guilty plea and suspended the sentence for a period of 25 years on the condition if the couple agreed to leave the state. On February 11, 1965, the three-judge district court gave Richard and Mildred a chance to present their case. They ended up appealing to the Supreme Court of Virginia on March the following year. However, their request was denied. Inspired by the civil rights movement, Mildred Loving wrote to Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy asking if the civil rights bill being debated in Congress might lift Judge Bazell's restriction on living in Virginia with her husband. Kennedy sent her letter to the American Civil Liberties Union, also known as ACLU, which asked Attorney Bernard Calhoun to look into the matter. In December of 1966, despite Calhoun trying to give Richard and Mildred the right to get married, the National Association for the Advance of Colored People assisted him and other sympathetic organizations. The Virginia Supreme Court still supported the conviction of Mildred and Richard Loving. In a unanimous ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court, Virginia's anti-miscegenation statutes were struck down, stating that to deny the fundamental freedom of marriage on so unsupportable a basis as race is surely to deprive all of the state citizens of liberty without due process of law. As a result, the Loving v. Virginia case established the legal basis for cultural redefinition of marriage. Guiding question. How well has the United States upheld the principle that we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal? Answer. All men are created equal no matter the color of their skin. The Loving v. Virginia case demonstrated how the states were against this at the beginning by not allowing for interracial marriage and not holding up on the concept that every man, no matter the color of their skin, were equal. The U.S. Supreme Court reasoned that marriage has traditionally been subject to state regulation without federal intervention, and consequently, the regulation of marriage should be left to exclusive state control by the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment of the United States Constitution is a guarantee of states' rights. The Constitution designed the federal government to be government of limited and enumerated or listed powers. This means that the federal government only has powers over the things that are specifically given to it in the Constitution. All other powers are reserved to the state. The 10th Amendment in the Bill of Rights reads like this: the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. The Supreme Court proved that the central meaning of those constitutional commands, they conclude that these statutes cannot stand consistently with the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment states that anyone born on the United States soil is considered an American citizen, and that the states are forbidden for denying anyone's life, liberty, or property without due process.